All right. After the immense success that was New World and Rings of Power, the TV show, Amazon has decided that it is prudent to attempt to create a new MMORPG, one set in the Lord of the Rings universe to replace that pesky, age-old garbage MMO that is Lord of the Rings Online. New World was a massive success. We all know that. It's beloved by millions of players around the world. And Rings of Power, who didn't absolutely love this thrilling adventure television series that perfectly captured the vision of J.R.R. Tolkien? Needless to say, many people are very excited about this new Lord of the Rings MMO and the trusted hands that are developing it. All right, I'm not going to be sarcastic through the whole video, okay? New World, upon release, was considered hot garbage, and to this day, it has yet to recover really any real significance in terms of a player base or reputation. And Rings of Power, dude, don't get me started. You got Tolkien, this devout Catholic man who writes an entire fantasy series filled with Catholic themes and messages and meanings set within this Northern European folklore-esque world, and Amazon, in their vast wisdom, decides to throw all that out the window and making their Rings of Power TV show, leading to Tolkien fans howling in rage at just how bad and un-Tolkien-like this show ended up being. But now, Amazon has announced that they are making a Lord of the Rings MMO, when they've already demonstrated they don't know how to make a good MMO. Just a giant grind fest that gets old really fast, and they most certainly don't know Lord of the Rings. Imagine Tolkien coming back from his grave and sitting and trying to talk to the Amazon executives about Thomistic philosophy or something, all being present throughout the themes of the Lord of the Rings. And these people would be like, what the heck is this guy talking about? Thomas Aquinas? Was he a football player or something? Guys, I've not made a video about this new MMO announcement for some time now, for one reason, and really one reason only, because I think that Amazon is going to completely butcher Tolkien's world and create another bug-filled mess of an MMO that's going to be less popular than the Lord of the Rings Online. And that MMO came out in 2007. Now look, okay, I know you guys are going to say that I'm being a negative Nancy. And maybe I am, but I am always hoping to be proved wrong. I don't want to be right, especially when it comes to negative opinions and when it comes to having a negative view about a particular MMO or game. I want to be surprised. I want Amazon to make a good MMO. I want to get hooked on a new Lord of the Rings Online experience, just like I got hooked on Lord of the Rings Online back in the day when I first tried it. I mean, who doesn't love Middle-earth? Who doesn't want to fall into that world again and get all immersed? I mean, I'm certainly one of those people myself. When it comes to Amazon, this multi-billion-dollar corporation, I do not expect them to be able to capture the essence of J.R.R. Tolkien in a show, let alone in a video game. Before you guys ask, yes, I did watch Rings of Power, okay? I made a video about Rings of Power before it came out saying, hey, Tolkien wouldn't want this and this does not look like J.R.R. Tolkien. And I watched the series and it was so bad, so bad. I just, wow. Like, these are the people that's gonna be making the Lord of the Rings MMO? Oh my goodness, like, whatever. When it comes to this channel, I fully intend to cover the Lord of the Rings Online 2's content, or whatever it's going to be called. I do intend to cover it as more news and information comes out, but at this time, we don't really know much. We just know, apparently there's an MMO in development, apparently Amazon's making it, apparently Amazon thinks that Rings of Power was good and that, you know, New World was good enough to warrant that they create a Lord of the Rings MMO. I don't know where they're getting this idea from, but okay. But again, prove me wrong. I mean, I'm not so prideful that I can't come on in front of a video camera and say, hey, I was wrong. This is a fantastic game. I don't want to go into some big spiel about, oh, what was wrong with Rings of Power and what was wrong with New World and go step by step by step. But I do want to focus on just one thing, and it's the same thing that I said in that video about Rings of Power before the series came out. If you really want to get to know J.R.R. Tolkien, if you really want to get into his mind, if you really want to understand the Lord of the Rings, you need to go towards what inspired Tolkien to create these stories in the first place. And the primary thing that inspires J.R.R. Tolkien all throughout his writing And it is so painfully obvious that even Tolkien himself admitted this in a letter, that the primary inspiration behind The Lord of the Rings was his Catholic faith. The Lord of the Rings, in all of its themes and messages and symbolisms and everything, is just Catholic to the core. Whether it be very direct and intentional, like where Tolkien actually displays some Thomistic philosophy and puts it right in your face and says, hey, here you go. Or it's very, very subtle, just here and there, sprinkled just a little bit. And the second thing that inspired J.R.R. Tolkien was, of course, his love for like Northern European pagan folklore and myths and poetry, Beowulf, the Poetic Edda, all that good stuff. Tolkien loved this world. He created a very personal and Catholic-esque inspired story set within a fantastical pagan world. That's what he did. Sometimes I think about, what if they remade Beowulf? You guys are familiar with the story of Beowulf, you know, from high school. Like, you got this great hero from Geatland, aka southern Sweden, goes to Denmark to fight Grendel, you know, blah, blah, blah. You guys know that. But what if they released a new Beowulf movie, right? And instead of the story being this sort of hyper masculine tale of this great hero fighting against sea monsters and sons of Cain and dragons and stuff. No. They make it this great big political movie. This political movie about Democrats versus Republicans or something. You just took the spirit of this entire piece of work, grabbed it and ripped it out, and then said, hey, it's Beowulf. It's not. It's a mockery of what Beowulf is. And this is what people have been saying about Amazon and how they handle Lord of the Rings. Look, I'm Nixium. I am like the ultimate optimist. Any game that I play, I try to see something good and something fun in it. Some games are much harder than others, let me tell you what. Movies, TV shows, I try, okay? And a lot of people have asked me, hey, Nixium, whether it's on Twitter or like on our community Discord, whatever, link in the description. People have said, oh, Nixium, is there any hope for this MMO? You think it's going to be any good? You think it's going to be as good as Lord of the Rings Online? You think it's actually going to compete with WoW? You think it's going to compete with ESO, Guild Wars 2, or any of the big MMOs today, Final Fantasy? And the truth is, I might be a big optimist, but I don't really think that there's much hope for this MMO. It would not surprise me at all if Amazon filled this MMO, just like they did with Rings of Power, with so much garbage that Tolkien would have been 100% against. 100%. I know that I'm saying, yeah, Rings of Power sucked, it sucked. I know I'm implying that and saying that a lot with this video. And I know that someone's going to say, well, if it's so bad, why don't you tell us what was so bad about it? I don't want to go into some big, 20-minute thing about, oh, here's everything that was wrong with Rings of Power. But the biggest thing that really shocked me with the show, I'll just say one thing, was the fact that we had Galadriel. And everybody, criticizes, Guy Ladriel. She was just insufferably annoying throughout the entire show. But the thing that really bothered me in her depiction is that we have this person who is trying to fight against evil. And yet she, in how she acts, is the embodiment of what evil is. Let me explain something very simple. How do you defeat evil? What do you do? What is the thing that makes someone uncorruptible? And this is even in the Lord of the Rings itself. Why can the ring not find a foothold in a simple little hobbit compared to a dwarf, an elf, a man, whatever? What is it that the hobbits have? What is it that Sam Gamgee had and Frodo had that Aragorn didn't have, that Boromir didn't have, that Isildur didn't have? What did they have? What is the great counter to evil? What is the thing that a person has to possess so that wickedness cannot enter into his heart? The thing that destroys evil when evil is confronted by it. You ready? Humility. The humbled heart. Evil cannot find a rooting in it. Sam Gamgee is just a gardener. He doesn't want power. He doesn't want wealth. He doesn't want anything. Really, all he wants to do is serve someone. He wants to serve Frodo. He doesn't even want to be the master. He's this entirely humble little hobbit, and the ring never really finds a foothold in him. And Frodo, same thing, very humble. And in Rings of Power, you have this character, you have this insufferable bitch, Galadriel, and the whole time, all she does is she just rambles and rants and spits in people's faces metaphorically and asserts her authority and assumes that she's right about everything and is willing to sacrifice her people, blah, blah. She was the very evil that she was trying to destroy. She was the embodiment of the evil that Tolkien would have preached against as like a devout Catholic man. Maybe that was the point. Maybe Amazon was trying to go with that, but I don't think that's what Amazon was trying to do. I think they were just trying to make a strong character, but in the end, they made her worse than the antagonist. Sauron just wanted to be left alone. He was just like, dude, just leave me alone. I don't want power. I don't want armies. I don't want any of this stuff. And it's because of Galadriel's meddling, if I'm remembering everything correctly, it's because of her meddling that he gets put back on the evil path again. And it's like your protagonist is what the heck are we watching here? This isn't a story that inspires hope or courage. This isn't a story that like inspires people to look to something beyond themselves, to believe in something higher in times of great doubt or despair or suffering. This is just a load of garbage where every single character is worse than the last. Tolkien was probably rolling in his grave. So I don't know. But anyway, so that's my rant. This is just my view, okay? I'm just one guy. All right, I'm not like, you know, it's not like my opinion has some great weight compared to yours, okay? I just happen to have this little platform on this dumb website called YouTube. Take what I say with a grain of salt, all right? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments section below. The point is, I don't trust Amazon with Lord of the Rings. That's the video done. Thanks for watching.